So our main activity for this afternoon is that we want to help out our local zoo, and we're going to imagine Taronga Zoo is that zoo. They have a big problem, and the problem is this, that patron numbers are dropping because the zoo is perceived as boring, and particularly teenagers are finding the zoo experience really boring. So our big question is, how could you make the zoo a fun place for teenagers? So in your groups, what you're going to do is you're going to see if you can brainstorm as many ideas as you can to be really creative and come up with a solution to the problem. What we're going to do as a result of that is we're going to design a zoo that caters for teenagers. Let's see if I can move the slide. So we're going to, in a moment, use the rainbow thinking cap, just like we have done before. And we can see that basically our quite big question is, how could you make the zoo a fun place for teenagers? And you want to come up with at least 6 or 7 ideas. The further you explore, the more creative you'll be. You don't have to worry about safety. You don't have to think about any sort of limitations like that. You can make it as crazy and as fun as you like. Okay, so we're going to set that up and give you the rainbow planner sheet to work on. You might like to brainstorm some ideas around that, the planner as well. Things like, what do teenagers actually like doing? Is it TikToks? Do they like extreme sports like skydiving and bungee jumping? They might like parkour and dance parties and music festivals. They might like playing computer games, all those sort of things, watching movies and playing sport and games. Then you might think of all the different animals at the zoo. And we've got obvious ones, the big ticket ones like lions and giraffes, but there are also spiders and snakes and things in the reptile area. There are butterflies and things like that too, and of course there are hippos and sharks. So think broad, think about all the different types of animals that there are at the zoo, and that will help as well. Then what you can do is you can look at some of the things that you might be able to come up with, such as creating a horse race around the zoo between different animals like the cheetahs and ostriches, and maybe the chimpanzees can be the jockeys. You might have an area where you can have TikToks with the animals, and you might have adventure activities like zip wire rides across the crocodile enclosure, and there might be all sorts of little courses that you have to run through, and you know, it makes it all quite dangerous and deadly, but also exciting as well. You might have a wrestling pit in the orangutan enclosure, so it might be the WWE, and you've got to take on the resident orangutan. You might do parkour in the dangerous reptiles enclosure, or have some sort of underwater hockey going on in the shark tank. But just think about all those sort of crazy ideas that you can do with different animals, and also think about blending the animals together. Okay, a very blurry, but I just went on to the Taronga Zoo site and found a simple design of the zoo, and that's the sort of poster that we want to create when we're designing something that's going to have areas where you'll have the whale enclosure, and then you might have over here you might have the wildlife park where you're going to have your zip lines and things like that. There is a Taronga Zoo, they do have that chairlift, don't they? The gondola ride. So you might be able to do something with that as well. The Taronga Zoo is also built on a hill, so it might be great for things like slip and slide and all sorts of activities like that. And mountain biking is very popular, so maybe that can have a little place as well. So lots of extreme sport options. Plenty of things you could do. There's also Taronga TV if you want to live stream how boring the animals actually are. And at this time this afternoon, they're probably going to be having a good old sleep. So we want to wake them up and make them have a great time so that we can have a great time there too. Okay, so that's pretty much the premise of what we're doing. We're going to see if we can help the zoo come up with lots of interesting ways to attract teenagers to the zoo. So do your rainbow planner, generate some ideas, do some brainstorming, come up with some activities, and then you're going to design your map. If you do finish and you're looking for an extension activity, then there is also the opportunity for you to create a promotional poster for the zoo, and you know, you want to make it attention grabbing using sensational language, and you know, that'd be a great task to do as well.